right, welcome back everyone to our podcast, One Gen Talks a Lot. My name is Andrea, and as usual, I'm your host for this podcast where we have conversations with various guests and explore their stories and perspectives in life. Today marks the 9th episode of our podcast, and we're nearing the end of the season. We hope you've been enjoying our podcast so far, and if this is the first episode you're seeing, please go check out all the other episodes on our channel. So far, we've had a pretty wide variety of guests on this podcast. We had pastors, missionaries, athletes, comedians, politicians. And so adding to that today, we have an artist with us. She's a comic artist, an animator, an illustrator, an author, and she even won the Eisner Award for her graphic novel, Fried Rice. So let's give it up for Erica Eng. Woo!
Hi.
So, how are you doing today? How are you feeling about this podcast?
Doing good. Drove down here up here from Johor today with my family.
Did you drive or did your parents?
Well, actually my dad drove.
Okay.
So everyone was pretty much like conked out in the car.
So he was just driving silently.
Yeah. I was reading and praying, so I feel pretty chill right now.
That's good because I feel a bit nervous. I still feel quite nervous recording this podcast, so it's good to have at least one person who is feeling chill. So maybe before we start, maybe you would like to introduce yourself a little bit for those of for the audience who don't really know you.
Right. Well, Andrea already did a pretty good job at introducing me. I'm a comic artist and writer. I also work in video games as an animator, so that's my day job, what I do from Monday to Friday. I'm really passionate about my faith, and I love Jesus, so everything I do, I hope to glorify God's name.
Amen. Okay, so I actually didn't know about the video game thing. That's new information for me, but we'll touch more on that later. So let's rewind a bit. When I read Fried Rice, it focused a lot more on your life after SPM, when you finished SPM, applying for colleges, and that hectic period of time, right? So let's rewind a bit and let's talk about your childhood. What was life like as a child for you?
Right. I grew up in a town called Batu Pahat in Johor. It's where both my parents were born.
Oh.
And where they grew up. So their lives kind of took them to different places, but they ended up back there and they met there and they got married. And then they moved to KL for a while, served in a church, but my dad felt the call of God to go back to his hometown, so they went back there, and I was also born there, and that's where I grew up all my life. And that's where I still live now. And it was like, growing up, it was, a really typical Malaysian town, not super, like, Lord writes in, in Royals, like, not an address that you'll be proud of, not a postcode you're proud of, but growing up, I think I kind of grew up with this thing of, looking down on my roots, kind of, because I always had bigger aspirations, and I like to read, and I loved art, so I didn't really see that reflected in my surroundings. I was like, why don't we have museums here? Why don't we get like great artists from here, even just from Malaysia? Like, why are all the great artists from overseas?
In the West.
Yeah, like Monet or Da Vinci, Or even like my favorite authors at the time who were Roald Dahl and Laura Ingalls Wilder. So I had this kind of struggle with, I guess, accepting where I was from. Even from a young age, like I want to say when I was like 10 years old, I already felt it, which is kind of intense, honestly, for a 10-year-old to feel that. But it grew and grew into a dissatisfaction when I was a teenager. And it honestly, it drove me to want to be better at what I did. And I found out I was good at art. You know, I could draw. So
This was in secondary school.
this was well, I had the interest to draw since I was really young. Like maybe I was 2. And I remember at age 5, I would just sit for hours to draw.
Wow.
So it continued until secondary school. And secondary school was when the interest really like solidified, and I realized that I wanted to do this for my career. So I became really driven and started studying a lot on how to draw better. But I know now that even with my striving and even with that drive in me, that honestly was not totally motivated by the Holy Spirit, because it was motivated from a lot of angst and dissatisfaction. Even that, I think God really used it, and He put it in me. The devil is trying to twist it around and use it to make me feel dissatisfied. But really the desire to create was from God, and I'm so glad that God has redeemed that. Because ultimately He is the creator, and all these desires and the talents that we have are all from Him.
So I just want to talk a little bit more about this dissatisfaction that you had. So I also used to read a lot as a child. I also read a lot of fiction. So I read a lot of Enid Blyton, a lot of Secret Seven, and things like that. So I just want to ask, is it like kind of like, oh, do you read a lot of fiction as well?
Yes.
So was it more like, oh, why do these people over there have so fun adventures? They had all this kind of setting, and we in Malaysia, we just have this kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I was reading Narnia. I remember
Narnia.
Yeah. My goodness, Narnia.
Yes.
Ooh, like
It still hits different even right now, yes.
and I just felt like, why do they have such fun lives? Like even in the movies, right? You watch people in UK or America, like it's all sparkly in movies.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like, well, I don't really see that, like my life being reflected in those stories, right?
So how did you live with this feeling? Because you said it went on until like when you were a teenager. So how did it feel like when, you know, living through this so many years with this kind of feeling, and then did you ever get it like resolved, or how did it resolve itself?
How it resolved? Well, I continued on that journey. I felt like God was calling me to be an artist. I did feel strongly that it was something I was meant to do. When I was around 15 years old, I was listening to this podcast with Glenn Keane, who's an old school like Disney animator. He animated The Little Mermaid and Beast and Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. So he's like, you know, super kind of like legendary status Disney guy. And he's also a Christian, so he was talking on this podcast about how he applied to a school, and he wanted to apply to the fine arts, what do you call it? Program. But his dad gave his portfolio to some guy who was smoking weed on campus. And the campus was closed. I know it's a crazy story. So the guy who was like completely stoned took his portfolio and said, okay, yeah, I'll deliver it to the administration when it opens, because it's closed right now. And then they drove off, him and his dad, and he's like, oh man, I don't think that guy's gonna help me deliver my portfolio. But he received an acceptance letter to the school of, I forgot what it was called at the time, but it was like animation. Okay. And he was like, oh man, the guy who delivered it to the wrong school.
Oh.
Yeah. So I felt like, wow, if this guy could have such a successful career in something that he didn't even like set out to do, then I think God can use me in, if I choose this, then God can surely like bless me and use me as well. And I felt like, yeah, I really want to study animation because I like movies, I like stories, and it seemed like a reasonable career choice, you know. You could get a job at a studio and it would pay like monthly. So I decided to study that. And while I was in school, I honestly still felt like, is this really what I should be doing? It kind of feels self-indulgent to be an artist because I'm not really helping anyone. Like, should I have gone to Bible school instead?
Does that come from being a pastor's kid?
I don't think so, because none of my siblings struggle with that, but I did.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, like, it went on, and I made this book, and I wrote it, and I dedicated it to the Lord, because I said that, listen, I don't have anything to give to you. I'm going to dedicate this to you, God. And God blessed it, and, you know, gave me great success, even though I didn't have any expectations for it. So that was like the seal of approval for me. God telling me that, yes, I approve of you becoming an artist, and I like your work, and you can serve me as an artist too. And that was how I felt like, okay, this is the right thing to do, you know?
So, but this came quite a bit after your application to college and things like that, right? So, let me just get my thoughts straight. So you mentioned that you were also struggling. I think this was probably during your secondary school time. You were struggling with wanting to be an artist, be an animator, but also at the same time struggling with maybe, should I go to Bible school? Should I do something that is more Christian or more dedicated to the Lord? So how did that, at the end of the day, you still applied to being an animator in college. So what made you make that decision at the end? Or maybe you can also share a bit about like what were your friends and family's reactions to you wanting to further your studies in this field.
I didn't really have that moral dilemma when I was a teenager. It kind of came upon me afterwards while I was already studying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in my diploma program. But I can answer your question about my friends and family. Like, I worked really hard in school to get good grades, and because I wanted
as all
to.
Of us did. As all of us should.
Yes, as all of us should. Because I wanted to show my family that, hey, I'm working hard. And that means I'm serious about whatever I choose to do with my life. And my parents have always been super supportive. And for them, it's like, doesn't really matter what you choose to do as long as you work hard at it. And you're not just choosing it on a whim or for bad reasons. So for them, they were very, very supportive. Honestly, in a way that challenges me as well. Like, if I'm a parent, like, will I be able to do that for my kid, you know? And my parents were super supportive, and my friends saw it as well, and they were like, wow, your parents really let you do this.
Because the typical Asian parent mindset would be, art, that's not a very stable pathway to follow. Later you cannot earn money, how? And then you'll be poor. You know, That's really good that your parents really supported you. It would have been a really big encouragement for you as well, right?
Definitely.
So then after that, you went on to apply to CalArts after SPM. So this was the main focus of your comic, Fried Rice.
Right.
And then you got rejected from it. So I imagine it must have been really discouraging. And you shared snippets of it in Fried Rice, which I found really interesting because in Fried Rice, you didn't really show a lot of disappointment. There were moments of it, but I didn't feel like it was like a enormous disappointment, if you get what I mean. So maybe you can share a little bit what it was like for you at that time when you got rejected from this dream college that you wanted to attend.
Right. At the time, I wanted to apply to that school because Glenn Keane had gone there.
Oh,
Redbird
okay.
had gone there. Like a bunch of people I really looked up to had gone there. So it's like, imagine if you want to become an actress and you look up like, I don't know, who's your favorite actress? Or like the Academy Award. Let's say you love Emma Stone and you go and Google like Emma Stone's alma mater, and then you apply to that school because you're like, I want to be like her.
Yes.
So that was kind of how I was
Yeah.
looking at it. And I was so obsessed, like I even got in touch with students there and I made friends. Actually, we are still friends today.
Oh,
like
that's
it's
nice.
kind of, yeah, it is nice. But even at the time, I felt like if I just can get the acceptance letter, then maybe that will be enough. I don't actually have to go because it was super expensive.
Yeah.
Even for American standards, that school is like crazy.
Oh.
And there are other schools that you can go to that are much more reasonably priced.
So when you applied for that school, it was half expecting that you wouldn't actually go there. It was just to see whether you would be able to get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like a hit to my ego that I couldn't get accepted.
Understandable.
Yeah. So that was like, oh man, am I good enough? I don't know if I'm good enough. It was disappointing. But then after that, I had to move on and think about what the next thing was, which was maybe why in the book it doesn't seem like it was that crushing. But the fact that I wrote a book about it shows that it did affect me.
Fair. Yeah.
Because it was like many years after that already. I already finished my diploma. And I was applying to uni again because I wanted to get my bachelor's with the goal of maybe working overseas. And then just going through that whole process reminded me of the first time that I applied to school. And it just like brought back so many memories of that time and all the emotions, all the like late nights that I was spending drawing for my portfolio.
Yeah.
I would stay up until like 5 a.m. just drawing and like stay in the room the whole day. My family like didn't see me. And I honestly
Were your
felt
parents okay with that? My parents would not have been okay with that. They'd be like, why you spend all your day in your room? Come on and have dinner with us lah.
yeah. That's why I say my parents are really understanding. I think they respected the grind.
You're working hard, that's good.
Yeah, Chinese parents. But you know, I felt regret that I did that. And I was like, oh, I missed out on things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to write the book also to appreciate like the kind of love and support that I had around me, the family life that I had, even my town that I not appreciated growing up in, but I felt like, you know, it is beautiful in its own way, its own rickety dink.
It's always in hindsight, right?
Yeah.
When after you just look back on your life and you're like, actually, I had so much good things growing up that I could never appreciate.
Yeah. So writing the book was a bit about that.
Yeah, I can kind of tell that. I could kind of tell through your storytelling as well, which is I really enjoyed the book.
Thank you.
So, you mentioned that in the book it didn't seem as crushing because you also had to move on with life, right? I think it's a really realistic worldview because you can't dwell too long in disappointment because, you know, life goes on, you have to move on. So how long did you take to move on to, you know, okay, I have to look for plan B now? Or was it just immediate?
Well, my dad had already been preparing me with like, okay, you gotta have other options from the beginning, which honestly sounds kind of like a downer, but it did help because after that, I think I moped for a few days. I might have posted on Facebook about it, like, oh, I get rejected.
Some emo
Yeah.
teenager post. I secretly go back to my Facebook, and you know when the memories pop up,
Okay.
and I read back my teenage stuff, I would delete them all because
Oh my goodness.
I can't with myself.
That is so relatable. Yeah. And then I had like people message me
Are you
saying
okay?
that, yeah, it's gonna be okay, you know. And yeah, it was a while, but then after that, my parents were like, okay, let's go look for schools, and we went around looking at different schools.
So you just had to move on, and yeah. So during that time, besides the fact that you had to move on, what comforted and encouraged you other than, you know, I have to move on and my parents are, you know, encouraging me to start looking for other options? What comforted you during that period of moping and grieving as well?
Well, I like to say that God encouraged me, but I think at the time I was really trusting a lot in my own skills, you know? So I took comfort in the fact that people I respected said that I was good at art. And I was still gonna be okay. So I was always looking for validation from other people.
Understandable.
Yeah, so that, like, it's not a good motivation. Obviously, it's not sustainable. But it did encourage me at that time.
So you mentioned that mainly you relied on validation from other people. So throughout that process, where was God in that whole journey?
Well, God led me to the program that I ended up applying to and the school that I ended up going to. God really blessed me with wonderful relationships in that school. I had really good friends, and I was close to my family. I had a really great teacher as well. She's still alive, but she doesn't work there anymore. She was my lecturer, and she's like a Christian lady. So we would have conversations about Jesus, and she always stood for her values. Because in an art school, there's tendency for even teachers to be like a little loose with their values, and it's very easy to like, I mean, they swear a lot. It's not like a professional environment. Like, let's say you're studying law where everyone is like, Actually, I don't know. I don't know what a law school is like, but I imagine it's very different from an art school. But she was just like an example to me how to stand for your values even when other people have very different values. And she even said it like on the stage in front of everyone. She was like, well, this is funny, but like, you may find it funny, but for me, my faith, you know, this is not something we laugh at. Something like that. She said it, and it really...
Well, that takes courage.
Yeah. So it really stuck out to me and showed me the kind of artist that I could be, you know, standing for Jesus and also working hard as an artist and being a good artist, which she really is.
So when you were doing your diploma, because you moved on, right, from your big dream, and so you did your diploma and then your bachelor's as well. So when you were studying, how were you able to reconcile the reality of studying in these universities with the dream of studying in your dream university? Because it's quite a big difference. So
Right.
Was there still a bit of like, oh, I could have been there, or imagine if I was in California right now?
Right.
Was there any experience like that you had?
Well, there were different moments when I felt really grateful for what I had, and other moments when I felt like maybe I missed out on something.
What if?
Yeah. But for the most part, I really felt grateful. I really felt like God was guiding my steps, and even down to the electives that I chose in school, everything just seemed to form like a comprehensive like flow of work.
Everything fell into
Yeah,
place.
yeah. And honestly, when I was in uni, that was when I won the Eisner and my comics started, gaining attention. And I was wondering if I should stop school and I should just focus on comics. But God told me, no, you should stay the course and finish your degree. Yeah.
So you did fried rice while you were in uni. So that must have been really a lot. Or was it manageable? Because I don't know what art school is like.
Right. Well, I did my uni course actually fully online.
Oh.
Yeah. The school is in the States, but it was during lockdown. So actually I could have gone at the start, but I was like, let me just take all the unimportant classes from Malaysia first, and then I'll plan on going there later. But that ended up not happening because of lockdown. But it was a blessing as well, because then I could work on my comic. And I purposefully chose, like, it was intentional to write a story that was manageable, that was inspired by real life, because it wouldn't require a lot of research, because everything was already in my head.
Yeah.
So I felt like, okay, this is a manageable story. I can write it while I'm in school. It's like a fun project for me. So it didn't feel like a lot, honestly. It felt like what I should be doing.
That's nice. So what was your journey of writing or drawing fried rice like? You mentioned just now it was like a trip down memory lane. You kind of relived your experiences, the emotions. And so what was your journey writing and drawing it, and also submitting it for the award? Like, how did you get there?
Right. So the reason why I wanted to write it was because I learned so many things in college. I learned so many like storytelling techniques, storyboarding, and I really wanted the project where I could apply everything that I learned.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I have to do something with everything I learned. And I didn't want to make an animated video, because if you know anything about animation, it takes a lot of people to produce animation. You have sound and music and everything. And people have done it like single-handedly, but I didn't feel confident with my skills to do that. And with the scope of the story I was trying to tell, I thought comics would be the more suitable medium. And at the time, I had not written a whole comic before. So I did a lot of research. I studied, I read a lot of comics, I read a lot of books and screenplays, and watched some movies. And just kind of came up with something that was really based on my life. And just chose like what felt like the most emotionally significant thing that had happened to me. Like a memory that just kept popping up was that memory of applying to CalArts. So I thought, okay, this is a good start. Like, yeah, I think this is interesting to write about. Oh, and then applying to Eisner's. Well, I wrote it in September 2019, and started. Well, no, I wrote it earlier, but I started posting it online in September, and I knew that the following year, March, was when the Eisner Awards, you could start submitting them. And I knew the requirements. You had to have your own like website URL for a webcomic. So I was aware of all these things, and I wanted my webcomic to be eligible for it. Without expecting that I would win it, of course. But I just thought that, well, if I'm going to make something, I might as well try. Yeah. Make it something that will fit into this thing.
High standard
Yeah.
category.
Yeah. So I submitted it, and I think at the time that I submitted it, my comic was only 30-something pages long. So not a lot. And it was a huge surprise when I found out that I was nominated and then I won.
So what were your emotions like during that time?
I didn't realize that it would be so significant at the time.
It just felt really surreal.
Yeah. And to me, I suppose, like, to me it was another CalArts thing. I was just submitting something and seeing if I could get it. And it honestly, if nobody cared about it, I was just like, it's fine. It's like for me, right? But
I would just move on.
Yeah. But it wasn't just for me. Like, when I got the nomination, some politician tweeted about it, like, congratulations, Erica Eng. And I was like, wait, yeah. Like, is this important? And then after that, when I won, and all these artists everywhere, they were like, how did you do it? And they're older than me, much more experienced than me. And they're in awe that I could have won this. And I was just like, happy to be here. And when I got I received the email, because they tell you before you win it that you win it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't find out during the award ceremony, which is kind of funny actually. So I found out beforehand, and I told my family. And by that time already, the tension had been building up. So when I told my mom, she's my mom, if you know her, she like dropped to her knees and started praying. And I also
have
joined
to give
her.
glory to God.
Yeah. And she was like, this is from the Lord. This is God. And it really was, because a few months before that, before any of this happened in May, we were having family altar because it was COVID. So everyone was at home and like praying, you know. So we were having family altar, and my mom had this like word of knowledge, a prophecy over all of us, all three of her kids. And for me, it was that God's going to give you a platform, and it's not because of anything that you've done, but it's because he wants to use you to glorify him. So he's going to give you a platform, and it's going to happen soon. I had no idea what that meant, but when the award came, I knew that this was what he meant, you know. And during December of the previous year, December 2019, I had been in church, and I'd been struggling, obviously, with a lot of emotional problems. And I realized that, wow, this is my sin. Like, my sin is what's causing this. It's my sin because I didn't accept what God said about me. And I allowed all these lies from the enemy to come in and to take over my identity. So I repented before God, and I said, I'm so sorry, God. Like, I repent, and Lord, I don't have anything. I'm going to dedicate my comic to you. That was the moment when that happened. And I also took a lot of my money, all of my savings, and I donated it to missions, because I was like, this is my offering to you. And the following day, because I struggle with a lot of chronic illness, like I had sore throat 24/7. Yeah, it was really bad sore throat, and I also had really bad eczema and food allergies. And God told me on that night when I repented, he said, I'm going to give you your voice back. So the next night, it was a 2-night service. The next night, I was completely healed of my sore throat. Just like that. I felt it lift out of my throat. And throughout that whole year, God was sanctifying himself, me to him. And he told me not to read a lot of things, not to watch movies, which I done a lot of, as you know. So I was reading my Bible, praying, and reading only like Christian books for like maybe a year. And throughout that year, I experienced God's healing in my body. I was completely healed of like food allergies, like really bad food allergies. My whole family knew, even my friends knew. So all my friends I met after COVID, they were like, you can eat this now. Yeah. So I was so thankful and so grateful. So the Eisner was just like part of that blessing.
That's such an inspiring testimony to hear. So that one moment of really surrendering everything, that was a really big moment in your life that really led to this many things.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk a little bit about that, because surrendering is not easy, right? So was it just in that moment you just was able to put everything down? Because what you mentioned, not watching movies, only reading Christian books and all of that, it mustn't have been easy.
Well, it was a season when God empowered me to do it. Like it did not last forever. Okay. Like I do read novels now. I do watch some movies, but had become it at that point in my life. I think it was an idol because I used it to kind of
Escape.
Yeah, escape, and it was also the source of my inspiration in my work. And I did not rely on God. So God needed to break that in me. So He used that season in my life, and it did not feel like a big sacrifice because I just felt so much joy in God's presence.
That's amazing. So, moving on, what are you up to now? So you mentioned you are a video games animator.
Yeah.
You're also freelance, if I'm not mistaken.
I used to.
You used to.
Not anymore.
So
Yeah.
you're focusing more on the video games part now. So what's that like?
Now I work at a studio. So my studio is in KL, but I work from home. So it's a completely remote job. It's a very small company, and I'm just one of the animators there. So I have a really amazing lead who's like very talented. So I learn a lot while I'm there. And basically just I'm using the skills that I learned in school at that company. And I applied for this job because it was fully remote and allowed me also to travel around when I was doing like book things and do things like this. So yeah, it's like a good work to have. And I have some book projects, but they're mostly on the back burner for now because my day job takes up most of my time.
I read Beloved online.
Ah,
And I saw the last time you updated was 2023.
yeah. I don't know if that was when I applied for a real job.
And real life hit.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I can't freelance forever. I really hate writing emails. But if you're a freelance artist, like that's what you gotta do.
You could hire someone to do it for you.
That is true. But just felt like, man, I just want a monthly check so I can work
Something
on
stable.
Yeah. So I can focus on just work, not on invoicing and all those things. Yeah. Maybe that season of my life will come again, but for now my life is like this. I have a job and I have also comics. I'm writing a short story for an anthology for Difference Engine, which is a Singaporean publisher. So I think that will be released next year. And I also have another book that I'm working on with someone else. We have a contract with a publisher, but that one is like a very long-term project. It's not, she's still writing it. I'm going to draw. And I also have like Beloved. Beloved is my own personal project, but I've rewritten a lot of it because it did not feel right. So I'm still figuring out what I want to do with that one.
I'm actually really excited for that one. I like
Really?
the theme
Oh,
talking about your faith and your story of faith, which I really like. So I'm looking forward to that.
thank you.
Okay, so I think we're nearing the end of our podcast. Before we end, so I just want to ask you to give some final advice to some of our audience, the youths out there, because you've experienced rejection, you've experienced crushed dreams. But you also went on to achieve really great things, and you've also experienced how God could use all these things to work in your life. So perhaps would you like to give some advice to some of the youth out there who are in the same situation as you were, whether it's failure to pursue their ideal pathway, or they're just feeling lost and not sure what they want to do with their life? Any advice, any last words for them?
Right. Any last words? Well, this Psalm 23 says, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over." So even though we're walking through trials and difficulties, God will walk through those things with us. And even though we're surrounded by enemies and attacks of the devil and emotions that are not from God, negative thoughts, God is there with us, and He has even prepared a table for us in the midst of that. And all we have to do is eat of the good things that God has for us, His word, His truth, spending time with Him in prayer, and affirming His truth over ourselves, and not paying attention to the enemies around us, but paying attention to who is in front of us, who is Jesus. So if we can do that through anything, you're gonna be fine.
Amen. Thank you so much, Erica. I really enjoyed the session with you today. Actually, last night when I was preparing, I was like, I'm really looking forward to today.
Aww.
Yeah, because I feel I quite relate to your story, not completely, but certain parts of it I do relate. While reading your book as well, I was like, oh, this is so relatable. That period after SPM, having big dreams and things like that. So thank you for coming today, all the way from Batu Pahat, to share your story with us and to share also this message from God that you have for our audience. So that is the end of our 9th episode. Thank you so much, Erica. And also thank you, our lovely audience, for tuning in. Stay tuned for our next episode, which will be released next month. And once again, if you have not watched any of the other episodes, go to our channel and you can find all our other episodes there. So that's all for today. Thank you. Bye.